Hey, what's up guys? It's Kromatopher. We're here, different place, different scenery, but we're gonna be doing something a little interesting. So I got a guitar in my hands, obviously, and what I'm gonna be doing is I'm gonna be recording a guitar progression. So something that I made at home, I just invented, I was playing, and I liked it. So I was like, it's a good opportunity to record this and make a beat from it. And that's what I'm gonna be doing with you. So I'm gonna record this progression, and the guitar is linked up to that interface that I told you guys about on episode 1. It is linked up and it's gonna register all the frequencies and record all the frequencies, meaning the progression, right? I'm just gonna record it. After that, what I'll do is I'll take you into the program, into the DAW machine, and I will show you what to do and how to manipulate it so we can make a beat from it, okay? So with that said, let me show you the guitar that I'm playing and the sound that I'm using. So this is an E minor chord, right? The progression I'm playing is in E minor, so the key signature is E minor. Right now, if you look at my guitar rig program, I'm using a almost clean sound effect, okay? So it has just a little bit of bite, and it makes it sound just a little enhanced, okay? But simple. I don't want it to sound too crazy or have distortion, if you understand what that means. If you're at home, you can do this with just a simple guitar as long as you have an interface, okay? So let's get back to it, and let me play this progression for you, okay? So here it goes. When you're playing this progression, you gotta make sure you're in time. Doesn't matter what time you're in, because as we make the beat, we can go ahead and manipulate that time, that tempo, that BPM, as we talked about in the first episode, okay? So I think my tempo is somewhere around here. Okay, so I'm just gonna keep tapping my foot and making sure I'm in time. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so that's the basic progression. Like I said, it's minor, so it's a little sad, but I liked it. I'm gonna try again because I know I was a little clumsy on that. So I'll go ahead and make sure machine's recording me. It should be recording. So let's go ahead and try again. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, and when you're doing this, you want to be as precise as possible. That second time around, I was a little messed up. It sounded a little rusty, but that's okay. I will show you what we'll do with this guitar, and I'll show you what we'll do with that progression here in the next segment. So check it out. Hey, all right guys, so we're back here. We're back at the station. I'm in front of all my equipment. I have everything ready to go. I'm looking at Machine, the DAW, and I'm ready to start creating something, a beat. I'm looking at my waves, so I'm looking at the actual waves that are recorded through frequency, right? So frequency have waves. So if you look at my program, here is the recording that I did. It's gonna sound completely different because I took off all of the processing. I took off that guitar rig sound effect, and it's just what we call dry, okay? But these are your waves. So I'll zoom into one here. They're frequencies, okay? And they all kind of look different, all right? So what I did as well is on the controller, I just duplicated each one of these takes, okay? So I just duplicated it 8 times because I'm gonna go ahead and use each pad to record each individual chord, okay? I know that sounds a little confusing, but I'll explain that in a second. So let's just hear this progression. Here we go. Right? Super flat, super dead, doesn't sound too good, but we're gonna try to make it into something better, all right? So this is where your artistry comes in, and this is where you gotta start thinking about what can you do? What do you wanna try to do, okay? And right off the bat, like I said, I wanna take each individual chord and I wanna do what's called slicing, and I wanna make them their own sound, put them in their own pocket, if you will. So let me explain what I mean. So I'm gonna go to my first pad here. Okay, my first pad right there is gonna be the first chord. So here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna zoom in to that first chord. Okay, so there's the first chord, and I'm gonna make sure that I get only that first chord. So I'm gonna cut off the rest. Just like that, super easy. And all I'm doing is using my start and end knobs here to just cut it off. So here's the first chord only, right? Actually, I gotta cut off a little more. Let me see, hold on. Yeah, so there's like that little strum. I'm going dun, dun. We wanna keep that in there. That's still part of the first chord, so. Okay, that's good. That's all I wanna do with that first pad. Let's move on to the next chord. So I'm gonna go to the next pad, which has all my chords. But instead of playing the first chord, we're gonna go to the second chord. So I'm gonna zoom in so I can make sure I know exactly where I wanna start it. Okay. There's the second chord, but let me truncate or cut off the rest. So there's just the second chord now. Okay, so first chord, second chord. Okay, let's do the rest. So now I'm just gonna do the rest, and I'm not gonna explain too much. I'm just gonna go ahead and do it. So here's my third chord. Get a little more of that beginning trimmed just a little bit. There's my third chord. Okay, there's my fourth chord. Once again, you wanna keep that strum pattern. You don't wanna cut that off. I think that's about right. That looks good. Let's do the last ones. We only got 2 more. I know I did 8, but we're only gonna do 6, it looks like. So that looks good. Okay. Now when you're doing this, you wanna make sure that you don't cut off any of your transient. The transient is the biggest part of your wave. So if you look at the wave right here, there's that big wave. You don't wanna trim off the beginning or even the transient. So if I play it now, sorry, wrong pad. It sounds completely different, right? Versus. And you also don't wanna do too much. See how there's like too much space? You wanna find that perfect balance. So it's all about taste and using your ear. Okay, and then let's just do that last chord. Okay, I think that's good. All right, and then my last 2 pads I'm not using, so I'm just gonna get rid of those 2 pads. But now I have all those chords again. Okay, so as you can see, it's already sounding chopped. It's already sounding completely different in comparison to the way I just played it on the guitar. So let me hear it again. Okay, and now you can start to experiment with what you want to do. So you can maybe mess around with the progression. Maybe don't do it forward, do it backwards. Right? So you're already getting some kind of idea. So I could take it there, and this is where you kind of want to cement an idea. You want to be concrete about what you're thinking. To tell you the truth, I kind of want to I want to mess with something different. I like the guitar, and I want to use the guitar, and we will use it, but let's go ahead and just record it as is. So let's record. Just like I played it. You're probably wondering, why wouldn't you just play the whole loop? Why wouldn't you just play the entire thing? Meaning, why wouldn't you just do this? Like we started. Right? I could, but what I would have to do was change my tempo in the program. And I would make sure that the tempo is perfectly matched with this. Okay? It's possible and it's doable, but it takes some tinkering. Instead, what I'll do is I'll just use what I chopped here, all the chords, and instead of the program listening to me, I'll listen to the program. So instead of me worrying about the program not catching it in time perfectly, I'll catch it in time perfectly with the program, meaning this. So let me go ahead and start recording. So here we go. Here's all my pads right here in Machine. This is pad 1. And when I touch it, you'll see we got some level here, right? So instead of just holding it down and letting the guitar play, I can make it as precise as I want it because I'm controlling it with my fingers, right? I put in 97 BPM, so let me hear what that sounds like. Okay, so it's kind of slow. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, and then you would just play it on top. See how I can get much more precise because I'm just following the program. The program's not following my recording, okay? So to me, that makes it easier. Sometimes you want to do it the opposite way and you want to just push play on your recording, especially if it's golden and it sounds beautiful, okay? Let's go ahead and record that. And if you noticed, I was just playing on beat 1. So every time I transition and I play a different chord, I just play on that high click of the metronome, which is beat 1. So let me do it again. 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so yeah, it's 1 and 3. It's half notes. It's like 1 and 3. These two pads are playing on 3. The rest were all playing on 1. Okay, so with that knowledge, let me go ahead and record it. So on the controller, you could do it 2 ways. You can do it in the program. You can touch your red circle here and then just hit back. It creates a pattern here. And you're starting recording, right? Or the other way is you can hit shift, record, and then that'll give you a 4-beat count in. So you'll get those clicks, 1, 2, 3, 4, then it will let you start recording. You'll listen to everything you record. So let's do that. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so now I'm gonna look at the program and see how I did. We're human, right? And because we're human, we often aren't perfect on the beat. Even when you try to be, you're not. So there's 2 ways to fix that if you want to fix it. Sometimes you don't have to fix it, and sometimes you shouldn't fix it. Sometimes that little human feel is way better than anything that a machine can give you, okay? But if I look at it, so here's my first chord. I'm playing on beat 1. Let me just hear it. Okay, now if I look at my next chord's off the beat. So here's beat 1. And you see how it's off the beat? For now, what I'm gonna teach you guys is I'm gonna teach you how to quantize, okay? And quantizing just means you're putting your notation, so these are my notes, right? You're putting them on the beat or the interval exactly where you want it, precisely, like a robot. It's just gonna do the job perfect every time, okay? Now you could do it manually by hand, and you could just grab it and drag it, okay? And right here I could change my grid, okay? So that these lines in the back are a little easier to manipulate. See how now I'm doing 1/8 notes, okay? So you can do it manually like that, or you can highlight all of them and hit quantize on the pads, okay? And I'm sure there's a shortcut on the keyboards, but you hit quantize, and if you saw that, everything popped in the uniform. It popped exactly on the beat 1 and 3 where you wanted it to play. Okay, so now that it's quantized, everything's gonna be perfectly in time. So let me hear it. Okay, now if you noticed, there's that turnaround. I'm shaving off a beat right here. So here's beat 1 of measure 4, beat 2 of measure 4, beat 3 of measure 4, and beat 4 of measure 4 is getting cut off. The program just accidentally cut it off. So I want to go ahead and make sure that I got that last beat so it doesn't sound funny. Try it one more time. So that sounds good to me. Obviously, we're miles away from a beat, but we're starting to build. So as artists, as producers, you gotta kind of visualize something. And I think I know what I wanna do with that. I don't necessarily want the song to be super spacey. So I think we're gonna move on to something different. And we're gonna go ahead and leave that where it is, but make something different in the meantime, okay? All right, what's up guys? Welcome back, welcome back. We got that guitar finished, right? So we just laid it. I put it to the side because I wanna go ahead and create some other melodies and some other percussion and stuff like that before I even touch that guitar again. I wanna build something, I wanna get some flavor. The guitar is nice, but I still need something else. So I took the liberty of just picking some sounds here. So I got my drums, and we're just gonna work with drums right now. But these are all my drum sounds. So I got my kick, right? I got 2 snares, and I'll explain why in a sec. And then I got 2 hi-hats. Okay, and then I got a crash. Okay, so with those sounds, we're gonna go ahead and create a drum beat. And I think I hear something in my head. I think what I wanna play is like a do 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 pa, do pa, do pa, do 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 pa, do pa, do pa, do 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 pa, something like that. Reason why I have more than one snare and more than one drum sound, I'll show you in a second after I lay it. Let me go ahead and I'm gonna lay the bass drum and the snare at the same time. Okay, so I'm gonna use just 3 fingers and I'm gonna play it together. Takes some coordination. If you're a beginner, you're kinda rocky, you're probably not there yet. So I wanna show you on some other programs what I did last time is possible. So if you have GarageBand, you wanna go ahead and you wanna create an audio channel right here. And then you wanna go ahead and make sure you have your interface. You need an interface to record a guitar, okay? But this is basically the same thing as the Machine program. You gotta create that audio channel, and then from there you can record into GarageBand, and you'll see your wave. So you'll see your waveform. Right now, it's flat. There's just that weird line there. That's because it's not receiving any signal. I'm not playing anything into that, okay? And lastly, if we go to Soundation, same thing. You wanna add an audio channel, okay? Same thing, it's gonna listen to you. You play inside of you play using your audio interface, and it will pick up your signal. Okay, so let's go back to Machine. Like I said, I'm gonna play with the drums, and I'm just gonna play with 3 fingers. So what I hear is, right, something like that. So before I even record it, I wanna push play with the metronome and make sure I'm in time and it doesn't sound super out of time and super wonky, okay? So let me go ahead and push play. Oh, sorry, that's not play, is it? Okay, just the metronome. All I wanna hear is that click. Okay, here we go. Okay, I'm gonna do it at a time just for the fun of it. Engineer guys, don't hate me, okay? Now, I hope at home you could tell the difference. I'm sorry, engineer guys, I'm sorry. I hope at home you could tell the difference. Let me do it again, and let me go ahead and do it with the click track and make it as precise as I can. If I like it quantized, if I want to make it super robotic and like perfect, I'll quantize it like I showed you before. So let's go ahead and give it a shot. Hit record, get that 4-beat count in. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, I think that's good. So there's all my notation. So this is called Midi Notation. These are MIDI notes. It's just your digital way of perceiving all of these sound effects. Okay, and they come up as little squares. Sorry about the crash. So let's just play that so I make sure it's decently in time. Okay. So it's not bad. What I want to do is I just want to quantize it a little bit. So I'm going to go ahead and quantize it, but I want to do it with different intervals. So I'm going to go ahead and try 16. And as you can see, my grid in the back, there's a lot more lines that appear, okay? I think this will work. I don't think it's going to mess up the feel of this that much. So I'm going to highlight everything, and I'm just going to hit quantize. And if you noticed, it just nudged. Everything just moved a little bit. So I'll push play now. It's just cleaner, right? And a drummer is human. A drummer has to have feel, especially if they're like a jazz drummer or something like that. But right now, I just need it to be locked in. I need it to sound good. Maybe I'll add some swing in the future, and I'll explain what that is later. Moving on, let's go ahead and get to hi-hats. So I have my hi-hats. This way, I'm just gonna cheat. I'm gonna do what I did in the first episode and use note repeat. So I'm just gonna hold down note repeat, and I'm gonna touch the two pads at the same time. And perfectly, I want it on 16. I don't want eighth notes. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3. And that's a little too slow. We want to do 16, which was 1 and E, 2 and E, 3 and E, 4 and E. Here goes. Sorry, I said that wrong. 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E. Okay, so let's hit record. Okay, so I messed up that take. I'm gonna do it again. Try it one more time. I could take a nap. I can go ahead and text someone if I want to text someone. All right, we're good. So now I got everything I need. I got some hi-hats, I got some bass drum, and I got some snare drum. Most of the time, I duplicate the snare drum too, and I put a different snare, just so it gives it a different flavor. But I like this snare. It's pretty dry, it's in your face. I'm gonna show you what it sounds like if I take away one of the hi-hats and one of the snares, how dead and how lifeless it kind of gets. I'm just gonna get rid of this one and get rid of this one. Now check it out. Right? It just sounds, it doesn't sound as full, okay? And part of it can be a gain thing, but I'm listening to the sound effects. So I'm listening to how the sound effects work. Let's do the flip. So let's do this one and this one. Totally different, right? I actually kind of like that one. That one sounds pretty cool. But maybe we'll use that later. Here's everything. Lot more life, a lot more vibrant. Okay, so we got drums. I like that feel, I like that flavor. Let's add something new. Let's go ahead and, I'm thinking maybe we should add some piano. Maybe we should add some kind of piano. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna scour my database here. I'm gonna find something. So come back to me. All right, guys, so we're back. We got the guitar loop on A, right? We got the drums on B, and then I just picked a bass, okay? So this is called bass F sharp Sylvia, and I think that typically it's F sharp, it's in an F sharp key, but you can manipulate that and you can play it in any one of those keys that I talked about in the past, okay? So we have the drums. Let me play them real quick. And believe it or not, there's already bass inside of the drums. You got that kick drum, doof, doof, doof. So that's gonna be taking up some bass frequency, the kick drum itself. We wanna go ahead and add some more. And the bass is super important in making that dance club move or that subwoofer in the back of your car shake and that vibration in your chest, okay? So it gives you a lot of resonance, a lot of energy. if it's the right bass, and it just fills up the spectrum, the frequency spectrum. If I don't have bass in any of my tracks, if you think of your favorite songs out there and you take away the bass, a lot of the times you're just not gonna like that song anymore. It's just gonna become flat. So the bass is just super important at providing that extra little oomph and that extra little thickness that gives you just enough to make your track bounce a little bit and move, okay? So let me show you what I'm using. So the bass here, like I said, it's that Exavier bass, and it has like a synthy sound, synthesizer type sound. So here's a note here, okay? Now that was just a G, okay? Okay, let me just find my notes. Okay, so I think what I want to do is I want to go ahead and just mess with it and just play with it with the drums. The drums are going to give me that rhythm, so let me go ahead and just play with it. So I'll go ahead and lower my drums a little bit so I can hear the bass better. So I'm just lowering the fader. Okay, let's go back to the bass. Okay, so I think you get the idea, right? It's just kind of thumpy, boom, do pa, boom, boom, do pa, boom, boom. Okay, I think that's a good little flavorful bass. So I'm just gonna simply record that. Here we go. Okay, I think that'll work. Now, sadly, my grid here was a little low, so you couldn't see me do it real time, but there it all is. Let's play it one more time. Okay. All right, so you get the idea. Now, one thing I want to show you guys is if I want, I'll quantize it. I'll go ahead and quantize it, might as well. Moves over a little bit. And then for this note here, I want it to hold a little longer. When I played it live, I kind of let go. So let me just hear that note, this one right here. This is your F. So kind of boom, boom. I want to give it just a little bit more sustain. So I'm just going to grab it and extend it just a little bit. This might be too much. Actually, that was perfect. Okay. All right, guys, I think that's a good place to stop for this episode. We got some good rhythm. We got a good bass line, a solid bass line. We'll refer back to that guitar and we'll throw that in there. Trust me, I haven't forgotten about it. Other than that, I hope you guys understood everything that I've shown you so far. I know it's a lot to take in, but whatever you have at home, get into it. Start producing, start creating something, and have fun. More than anything, just train yourself to get better, okay? It's a pleasure to be in your home. I thank you guys for having me, and my name is Kromatopher. Peace.